The government still hasn't had reveal per se what in terms of what's actually in the bill.
From the government's perspective, their focus very much is on the speculation side of things.
Another couple of last things which are very critical are the FEMA part. There are folks with intelligence also who are involved in this now.
I don't think the metaverse has, really entered the room yet.
Well, we often use the term FUD fairly generously when it comes to cryptocurrencies. The same term can be extended to speculation around India's upcoming crypto bill, which is expected to be introduced in the parliament. At one point of time, there was talk that cryptocurrencies will be banned, leading to more than a fair bit of fear. Then the chatter now is all about that exchange to exchange transfers will see restrictions, uncertainty there. And there's some speculation that the government may look at creating a uniform crypto wallet, a demat account of sorts, doubt again. And this is likely to linger till we see the document in black and white. To discuss what we should be expecting from this, we have two people who are steeped into the world of advising regulatory thinking. So please join me in welcoming Tanvi Ratna, the founder and CEO of Policy 4.0. Hi, Tanvi. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Ashwin. Good to be here.
And please welcome back Aritra Sarkil, the Director for Public Policy and Government Affairs at WazirX. Hi, Aritra. Welcome back.
Hey, Ashwin. Hey.
So let's dive immediately into the topic. Now, Tanvi, what's your take on all the announcements that have been made by the Finance Minister in Parliament so far? I mean, what I really want to understand from you also is that what is the first set of core regulations that you believe that would be prudent to really foster this domain?
Yeah, I mean, if you're asking me about my ideal approach, or are you asking me about the government's approach in terms of their first steps?
Both of them. Let's hear it out.
Okay. I mean, I think from the government's, I think from my perspective, you ask a way to frame this problem is where we have really faltered from the start, right? So I think the simple thing that any regulator would do at the start is a set of do's and don'ts, right? So they may not have all the details worked out, but they would make it very clear what they don't want to see. And I think the only challenges for the Indian government, the process has lingered so long that now they're trying to do that plus some of the rule making, which typically is a very long drawn process, and it may be that the bill opens doors to this proper rule-making process, right, with a consultative process and all of that starting, right? But I think from the government's perspective, their focus very much is on the speculation side of things. And it's very much more on the trading side of things, and to some degree, the money laundering and financial stability side of things. So I think that's what I would say at this point. I'm sure you're going into more details later in the discussion.
Thanks for that, Aritra.
I love how we're discussing speculation right at the very beginning of this conversation in terms of what happened 3 weeks ago. Like everybody speculated, the entire country's media speculated on, are we going to get banned again? Are we going to happen this again? And then markets tanked and all of that. But honestly, from that, we've talked about this. In terms of what's right now in front of the public, from our side, from the government side, see, a bill is waiting to be heard in the current session of the parliament. Our respected finance minister has confirmed that the bill needs to be reworked from its original version that seeks to ban crypto, including Bitcoin, Ether. But let's face it, on a much more clarity and nuanced version, she still hasn't revealed. The government still hasn't had reveal per se what in terms of what's actually in the bill, leading to much speculation. The pragmatic part of me wants to leave the discussion at that. But in terms of what I've learned in the last 8 to 9 months of being here, working with the government hand in hand on behalf of WazirX as well as the industry, is that there will be more clarity in terms of what crypto assets are, in terms of definition from the government, in terms of how you can register exchanges in India, in terms of Indian-owned exchanges like Indian companies as well as foreign exchanges who have entered India. Taxation, although there's still not clarity in terms of the taxation part, does that part of the law needs to be amended? Another discussion which has happened in terms from the government to our side and in terms of both of us is in terms of how will new coins be allowed to register in India. New coins, or like say there's a new version of Bitcoin which comes, how are they registered in India, and the process and the legality of listing of coins on the exchanges. The other part which there will be more clarity on, I'm sure this is all again based on, literally I'm telling you based on what I've heard and whatever questions I've been asked from the government side. Another couple of last things which are very critical are the FEMA part, the FEMA rules for cross-border transactions. And there are also talks on in terms of point of contact, like a grievance officer in every exchange. So more or less, these are few things that the government is pretty keen on. But we need to understand one thing as the major push that has happened, and this is still very early days for crypto, the entire ecosystem in India. The major push that has happened is from, in terms of the regulations, in terms of reaching out to the government, has happened majorly through the exchange companies in India. There are not many there are great product blockchain companies in India, but there are not many product blockchain companies in India. So most of the chatter has happened behind closed doors on the exchange part of the business, but much more chatter needs to happen on other aspects of crypto and blockchain. There are a lot of other things, right? There are a lot of products under metaverse. There are a lot of versions, variations of NFTs. Have actual chatter happened on that behind those? No, it has not happened. So most of the talk which has happened, most of the movement which has happened, debate has happened, is on the exchanges front in the last 6 or 8 months.
Interesting. There was an ET report, I think this morning, if I'm not mistaken, which said, about the bill getting delayed. What part of the regulations do you think are really creating the speed bumps in, with it getting introduced into Parliament? Tanvi?
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to mask a question on what the regulations are, right? So I think the real sort of I think the real disputes have been on a couple of topics. I mean, one is just in terms of, well, are we going to give this thing any kind of legalization, right? I mean, that has been, I think, a more public pushback that the RBI has done since the start, right? Where they have never even been in favor of a legislation because it's just, in a way, gives legitimacy to whatever you regulate, right? So why should we even do that, right? But I think also then the sort of, the manner of regulation is kind of disputed, right? Like, are our laws enough? Who is the regulator? Do we need new laws to handle these risks and things like that, right? And then I think the scope of the bill has been sort of under debate, right? Like, what is it that we will regulate, right? I mean, there's so many aspects to think about. And so, like I've said, there were some things that I was able to say before, and I did say clearly that this is going to be a phased process.
Lovely. Thanks for that. A phased process is what you're saying. Aritra, you've been in those consultations. What is that part that is leading to a lot more deliberation out there?
Oh, I mean, I'll tell you an interesting story in terms of what was happening in 2016, 17, 18. There were certain exchanges even that point of time who were communicating with the government, and the lot of trainings and a lot of closed door trainings and education programs from the industry also happened between the industry and the government at that point of time in 16, 17, 18. What has happened, and these are some real on the ground practical things I'm telling you what has happened. I will not mince my words. What has happened in the last 8-9 months, specifically 1 year specifically, is there are a lot more bureaucrats. There are a lot more different parts of the government which has got involved. Now, there is not in 16, 17, 18, we were only talking about a couple of particular departments of the government. We were talking about the RBI. But now there is a lot more involvement which has happened. It's for the good of the bad reasons, right? For the good of the bad reasons which has happened. So I have seen folks and gentlemen, from people who are dealing with drone laws and e-commerce laws get into this and say, why is this happening? Why is that happening? The number of people who are involved in this now and the number of MPs who are more curious about this, even at the parliamentary, the joint parliamentary session which happened with Jayant Sinha sir, I'll be honest, I was bowled over by the questions that were coming to us in the room by all the MPs over there. I'm like, wait, I thought we will come here and give information and educate everybody, but everybody is way more, they are at the same level as we are in terms of understanding this ecosystem better. So in terms of maturity of the ecosystem, from what it was in 2016 and 17, between the industry and the bureaucrat, and between the industry and the bureaucratic circles has improved a lot. And there's a lot more involvement from, and there are a lot more cohesive involvement from the industry. There is no one company or two companies who are just leading the front. There's now a bunch of 20, 30 companies that all have agreed, they've all have come down, like, you know what, we will do this together. These are the 4-5 things that we have decided to do it together, and we will go and pitch it to the government. So there are differences of opinions between us and other companies as well, but those will happen. But right now, and I'm telling you honestly, for what I've seen myself, for example, I'll tell you, even there was a joint appeal, there was a joint open letter that we had done between all the companies put together. There was like a front page ad that we did in terms of a policy open paper that we had done. From things like that to getting the entire industry together under arms of BACC and all of that, and everybody telling the same thing, agreeing to the same thing, has been a major movement. Because you need to understand, what was happening earlier was good efforts were being made by individuals and single companies, single units. In the larger scheme of things, listen, things don't work out that way. We might speak about these things on media forums and social media forums, but eventually it doesn't work out that way. There are so many other bills which has never become a law, right? But at this stage, that unity is one which I've seen changing. That's one. Second is involvement from the bureaucratic circles and the government. The kind of folks who are now involved is, and the kind of maturity they have in terms of understanding this ecosystem is way much better. Having said that, am I saying that this bill is going to be the final chapter of this industry? Or it's not possible. It's stupid if I say that. There are a lot more layers to this industry, and even I don't know. Look at how tech evolves, right? Even last time I was telling you the same thing. In the next 1 year only, you'll see different versions of everything. You'll see a blockchain's version on Zoom. You'll see a Zoom on blockchain. There are already folks who built that, right? So what versions of crypto comes out? Even the wallet, like even the Tanvi's paper on the wallet, the India wallet thing. I guess your audience, if your audience has not gone through it, should practically go through it. It's one of the best things I've read in the last 8 or 9 months. Even the paper on the wallet thing was fantastic. Now, these are all various versions that have come in. Now, it will add to the bill. So that's the practical change I've seen on the ground in terms of interactions between the government and the efforts that the industry has made together. But the massive scope for improvement, and the gates have to be opened for a broader set of blockchain and crypto companies to be a part of this discussion, which I think is still not happening, which I think still needs to happen for a better version of the industry to be tabled in form of a bill.
Just to quickly comment on this, what are the kind of questions that are coming in from the government? You said that you've had a lot of questions which kind of like stumped you out. What were they asking?
It'll put me in trouble, man. So listen, I took an oath of not to say anything which happened inside the. But jokes apart, I'll tell you. So one of the things that we were asked in terms of was on the anonymous nature of most of the cryptos. The other aspect that was heavily debated in the meeting that day and in closed circles was how are you different? Meaning, how is a Bitcoin different? There's this parliamentarian who asked me, how is a Bitcoin different from what are you saying, Aritra? USDT. Tether. How is Bitcoin different from T? How are any of these coins different from each other, right? Define it to me. So that definition, they are heavy duty looking forward. Third is the anti-money laundering, the money laundering part. Like, we have heard that this might happen. And because there is also a national security angle over here. Now, there are folks with intelligence also who are involved in this now. They're looking into it. I'm not lying. This is the fact. They're looking into the aspect of crypto, right? So they're like, how do you stop money laundering? How is this going to be used? How do you make sure that the so-called open source platforms are not used for activities against the country? There's a question which was asked to me behind closed doors, but these are the questions that are also being asked. But from a broader level, this the money laundering, then how are these? How do you value coins? Like, how is this different? There's also questions on like, why crypto at all? क्यों चाहिए crypto? Why crypto at all? क्यों चाहिए? क्या क्यों debate कर रहे हो? Why are you taking our time and your time? Why are we even debating on that? And also in terms of how are we different? How are crypto exchanges different from traditional exchanges like say an NSE and BSE? How are you different in terms of functioning? and the money flow that happens and all of that. Like, how do you crypto exchanges maintain liquidity as compared to, say, an NSE or a BSC, stuff like that? More or less on stuff like that, but I'm happy to discuss more.
But fairly extremely fundamental foundational thing which sets the bedrock on which the phase set of regulations are going to come in. Then we want to pull you back into this. Again, it's one of those things that is one of those endless debates. Crypto as a commodity versus crypto as an asset versus crypto as a security. What are your thoughts on these?
Yeah, I mean, I think this question of classifying crypto is a debate that has not really ended around the world, right? So I'm not sure that you can at one go classify these things effectively. I think that's a over ambition that we have sometimes. I think in policy, it's very important to be clear of what you can achieve and what you can't, and in what time frame, right? Before you embark on any exercise like this. So I think in terms of the classification, the real reason we are going for classification is because of the regulatory responsibilities that have to be assigned, right? Who is going to regulate it? That depends on the definition, right? But to be honest, as we said in our paper as well, and thanks, Aritra, for the compliment on the paper. I think we said very clearly that it doesn't matter if they are securities or commodities or any other nature of asset class, they are always going to be a cryptographic key pair. And what the first priority that you will have as a government or a policymaker is to try and put a light touch sort of ring fence around all those assets, especially if you're trying to ring fence your Indian financial system from it, or you're trying to, put some jurisdiction on this activity, right, which is very decentralized. Then the smartest thing you can do is first put a light ring fence around the asset class as a whole, right, which we can talk endlessly about defining it, and you have to do it, unfortunately, because our whole regulatory system is geared for that. But the first thing you can do is put in this infrastructure, and that's why we propose the wallet. And it is getting debated at the highest levels now. I mean, there were some big presentations even yesterday. So I think we believe the way that we would have phased this out, and I think now there are people thinking about it, is first you put a ring fence, then you divide up the responsibilities of like who is looking into what kind of activity, right? But I think there's a lot of capacity building that has to happen before you start defining things and putting rules on things, right? Because you can say that everything's a commodity, but in India, commodities are like jointly regulated, right, between the SEBI, but a lot of it is regulated by state governments. And I don't think the exchanges want to go to 28 state governments and get licenses. And then also deal with SEBI exchange licenses, which are very difficult. I mean, it's maybe a nice thing that SEBI might step in to regulate, but it's also quite, it's going to be quite challenging to fit crypto operations into, SEBI parameters. So I think when you get into the details of things, you get into the details of regulation, things are not as simple as they look, right? And all of law is about the details. So I think I would say like the easy classifications are probably the worst direction to go in.
On that note, Tanvi, do you reckon that India should create a new regulator for crypto? I mean, if you think that bundling it with SEBI might not be the most prudent thing?
No, I fundamentally disagree there, because I think crypto assets are a whole, like the way I would put it in perspective is they are a whole new economy, right? So they mirror very much the functions of all elements of your economy. And they will be overlap between things that are commodity, security, currency, and you already have frameworks for all those things, right? So even if you build a new regulator, at the end, it will end up being an amalgamation of all the regulators. So what we have recommended from the start is you should ideally just create a joint working group of sorts, which we've seen in other countries as well, right? You have a hub and spoke sort of model. So you'll have a hub, which is a joint working group, which builds capacity of people. And then these people then in turn build capacity of their agencies, right, on the technology. There's no way that one regulator can manage the spectrum of activity that's there.
Yeah, and then that spectrum is also growing with newer technologies coming in and newer, offshoots of blockchain and newer products coming out. Aditya, quickly turning towards you on this from a WazirX perspective, where would you want this debate to go towards? I mean, crypto as a commodity versus crypto as an asset or as a security. What are your thoughts there?
Listen, if I answer that, two things will happen. Two things will happen if I answer that in the way I want to answer that. Either I'll get calls from certain people, or something drastic will happen. But okay, jokes apart, there's a journalist calling. I think he's going to ask me the same question. Is this the commodity or is it a security? But jokes apart, listen, I'll take the industry view on this right now. Like, I don't think as an industry we're calling it a currency anymore, or even we're looking at it from the currency perspective. That debate's fairly over for whatever good or bad reasons. But right now we're looking at it in terms of as an asset. That's what we're calling it. But I tend to agree with what Tanvi was saying in terms of what has happened right now is a new tech has come. It's like a new set of a new environment has been created. Okay, now what do you do with this new environment? Either you create a completely different world for it, or you try and juxtaposes somewhere between the current world that is there, right? What I'm trying to tell you by those cryptic words is you have crypto right now, we're calling it an asset, calling it a commodity because you have current laws for that and all of that, but it's not that simpler. There are much more layers to most of these taxation laws and all of that. But from an industry perspective, I think we call it as an asset for good or the right reasons. Right now, we're going at it as an asset from, when I say from the industry perspective, most of the exchanges which are there in India, plus few exchanges from outside who have come to India, completely. This is not a currency. We'll never call it a currency anymore. But having said that, there are much more finer layers to it. Now, you can also call it as a security, right? If you categorize it as security, it could subject it to larger oversight. I mean, it could also open up the market to a larger pool of investors after passing regulatory hurdles and stuff like that. But some of the cryptos do look like securities, but some of the cryptos also do look like commodities and stuff like that. If you go by the Howey test and all, most of the cryptos pass the Howey test, right? But as right now, we are going to call it an asset. We are going to go forward with an asset description, but again, it's a bill. It's not the end game. There are deliberations on it which are going to happen. So yeah, I'm going to keep the version open, but we as an industry, we're calling it as an asset, and that's what we stand by.
And where do you think this NFTs and metaverse is going to feature into this bill, or do you think it's too premature a question for me to ask at this juncture?
Metaverse. Listen, nobody's discussing metaverse at the highest corners. Okay, we're discussing cryptos and exchanges and NFTs to a bit. I don't think people are discussing metaverses, or I'm happy to be proven wrong. I always sit back and I learn from people around me. But I don't think metaverse. I have not been in a closed room discussion with any bureaucrat so far in the last 2 years that somebody has asked me, Aritra, what is this metaverse? What taxation should we put on metaverse? Who are these industries? Who are these companies working with the metaverse? Kya hai? Is it a single company? Only question I was asked 3 days ago before I was coming back to India is like, is on the Facebook and Meta thing, like, have they legally changed their name or not? That's the only thing they've had. But having said that, there are some fascinating things which are happening in metaverse in India in terms of companies. There are young companies which are, when I say there are companies which have been created in the last 3 or 4 months, which you can categorize in the metaverse thing. In terms of NFT, there has been some legit discussions on the taxing part of it. Like as a holder or a buyer or a creator, where do you tax all of these things, from an art perspective or from a musician perspective? There are some questions being asked from that, because there are certain groups from the non-crypto community who have asked questions on if a musician who is, say, if I'm a musician and I have a contract with a certain label, a certain music label, and I decide to launch my song, the 30 seconds of my song as an NFT, then boss, where does the legality happen here? There are some groups which are asking that question in certain quarters, but as of now, as I told you I mean, and to your audience at the very start of the discussion, most of the talks and deliberations are happening on the exchange part of the business. And the core other areas of blockchain, it's happening, but in a very, not as much as what has happened on the exchange part. So
perfect. Thanks for that. There are certainly a few very interesting things that you said. Tanvi, your thoughts out there?
My thoughts on the NFT metaverse side. I think it's quite interesting, the singling out of NFTs. I think I also had commented on this today in my Twitter that there's some singling out of particular activities, whether it's mining or it's NFTs. And I think with NFTs, there is an understanding that they are different, but I would go back to the argument we've been making even in the India wallet paper. At the end of it, these are all cryptographic keys, right? And if you want to complicate your life as a regulator, you can start going into the different rabbit holes, or you can first just ring fence the keys and then you really need to start understanding this activity, right? I think it really all comes down to capacity. And like Aritra was saying, I mean, there's people not even understanding or grasping a lot of the the real value that's getting created by these things, right? So without that, how can you even regulate, right? I mean, I would just say that there is a singling out of NFTs for sure, right? But I don't think the metaverse has really entered the room yet. Yeah.
Almost at the end of this discussion, you've used the word light ring fence a couple of times in this discussion, Tanvi. I just want to ask you, what is something that you hope that the government will not take as a hard stance, which you think will completely disrupt nurturing this ecosystem?
Yeah, I think there is now sufficient awareness in the government that any kind of hard ban will not be good for India and good for its innovation ecosystem. And so I definitely don't foresee that sort of a stance. But I do think it. Unfortunately, I do think it will be a harsh stance, right? Because the intent of the whole bill is sort of it's not very driven by the innovation aspect, right? It's very driven by risk. And so it is going to be a fairly strict bill. So I mean, I don't envy Aritra and the others. Their task is going to be quite hard, I think, once this comes out. But I do think this will be a fairly strict law.
When you talk about strict, are you necessarily positing that there's a possibility that the government might not allow a few things like maybe meme coins? Do you expect some kind of a hard stance there?
Yes, that I can say safely that I very much expect that. But that there will be some activities which will be point blank shut down.
Excellent. Aritra, your thoughts on what do you hope will not come down as a hard hammer? Because you are hoping for, I mean, it's not it's quite a bit of a hard job that the government really has. Want to foster the space in the innovation, take care of investors, and also help you guys grow as an industry. So you're juggling way too many balls at the same time, and you can't afford to drop either of them. So what do you hope will not be a hard regulation coming down?
I just hope the bill comes. It's just tabled in the parliament. So I stop getting calls from every media person in this country. Keep bill making. What is there in the bill? I just want that to happen prima facie. After that, what happens, I'll see. But
you know that once that happens as well, right? We're going to still call you and ask you to come and help us understand what Wazir-X POV is going to be. So tough luck on that.
No, but.
I 100% agree with Aritra here. Like, I 100% agree. I've literally changed my number right now. So I, like, and I mean, even though I've told people, like, we are at no liberty to talk about this, but there's now people on my Twitter. There's some things that I do share, in good faith, like something that I can talk about, I put them. And then there also people reply saying, do you have a copy of the bill? Why are you not responding? Why are you not responding?
No, people did ask. She's so right. And remember what happened 3 weeks ago when the thing was there on the Lok Sabha website, and people went, the media went gaga about, our sources have told us that crypto is going to be banned again. I was like, which sources, man? I'm like, either I am very bad at my job or I don't know people in this country. Which sources have told you this? But anyway, jokes apart. To be honest, I'm really hoping, based on the conversations and based on the efforts that we have done as an industry, at least the bill is tabled. The government is listening to us. That's the way I put it, compared to what was happening in 2016-17. I'm also pretty practical in terms of, in my understanding, that things will not happen or change overnight over here. It takes time. There are many people involved. There's just not one. Just because I wanted ki ye chahiye hame, this is the next big thing in India, it will just not happen. There are other point of views which needs to be respected and taken into consideration. So let the bill come. We'll see what it is, and based on it, as an industry, we'll take it forward, just like the way we took it forward last time when a ban came. From the ban to this, to a semi whatever, to a bill which we don't know the contents of the bill, but we're just hoping that it will at least give us some semblance in terms of, this is what we think as a government industry is. But of course, it's a democracy. We'll take it forward in the ways we can. And if there needs to be deliberations on the bill after that, we will do that as an industry. We'll not stop. It's not the end game. That's what I say. But bill to aa jaye, at least let it get uploaded on that website. Then something we'll talk about.
I'm just blocking both your calendars the moment the bill comes, so that we've got your time to really understand what it is. I mean, you can read the bill as we talk about it, so that'll be great. But just a few thoughts out here. I mean, and
also, I'll tell you another thing, Ashwin. I think I'm in my 30s, but I think I've never seen my age group people, or even people younger to me, at least this is because of social media, I've not seen young people be so interested in Lok Sabha proceedings in my life.
Yeah.
Everybody in my family group suddenly asks, "Kya bill aaya? Has the bill come?" I'm like, you guys are watching Lok Sabha proceedings. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I mean, people are now even watching the US Congress proceedings, right?
Yeah.
Which is amazing. I used to be a staffer in the US Congress, right? One of my jobs was to organize these kind of hearings, right?
Wow.
And, it would be a miracle if you had like 20 people in the house, right, that day of the hearing. And when we had China hearings, we used to have like a full house. But now I see the room like overflowing, and now there's like 64,000 people watching it online. So I'm sure every politician is making note of these things, So it's,
yeah.
Just a quick thing, just to follow on to something that you said, and we're saying that there's a probability that the meme coins will be kicked to the curb. Aritra, does that necessarily mean that you will then have to start delisting these coins, right?
By the way, I did not say meme coins will be kicked. The way media sort of spins what you say, right? I said that some activities will possibly be shut down properly.
Okay, fine. I'll stand corrected then.
Yes.
But Aritra, as a speculation, if coins beyond a certain number of X coins get, let's say, de-recognized or not accepted, does it mean that there's going to be a huge exercise of you having to delist them? Is that the potential next thing that will happen if that something like that comes about?
Wow. I like the question. So Ashwin, this is the thing. I honestly want to wait on the government to define what is a meme coin, what is not a meme coin, and based on that definition and the way forward, we'll take it. In terms of delisting, again, it's a process, it's a legal process, but that'll happen if there are some laws which come into place. Until those laws come into place, I don't think it'll be proper on my behalf to comment.
Fair enough. And to close this discussion, Tanvi, I know Aritra's POV on this, but Tanvi, if you have somebody, and I know you have a lot of people, and I have a lot of people who come to me and ask me, how should I invest in crypto? What should I do about investing in crypto? What would be your advice to consumers and the crypto curious who really want to start their crypto journey? What is the advice that you've been giving them?
I mean, it's very curious how I often get these questions about investment advice. It's really not my area to advise on. I would say just go into it with your eyes open and have a risk appetite that that take risks that you can take, right? Because nothing is very certain right now. And I think globally, there's a lot of uncertainty around regulation. So, I don't think there's anyone who can give you any kind of blanket protection.
Got that. Lovely. On that note, thanks a ton, Tanvi. Thanks a ton, Haritra. It's definitely interesting. Of course, we're all holding we're holding our breath on the bill coming out, and we expect it to happen in the beginning of next week, hopefully. And after that, we'll reconnect with both of you to see how you are reading it and how you're interpreting it, more importantly. And that'll largely help the rest of the country to really understand what is the future of crypto in India. On that note, Tanvi, Haritra, it's been a delight to have you join us here on Business Insider India. And we'll speak to you soon. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashwin.